Hello everybody, I'm Francesca Profeta. I'm Senior Research Analyst at Staff and Industry Analyst, focusing on various markets and workforce solutions. I'm delighted today to be joined by Petar Divjanović, Business Growth and Strategy Lead for DEKRA Arbeit Group. So we're in really good company. He leads the development and go-to-market strategy for digital platforms that supports every stage of the staffing value chain. He oversees international business development and growth initiatives through European markets. But most recently and importantly for this discussion, Petar has been at the forefront implementing AI-powered solutions to improve both internal operations and client services. So really giving them a practical perspective on how AI is reshaping our industry. So thank you so much for joining the WEC SIA Insights discussions that have been really popular, probably due to the nature of our discussions, mainly around AI. So we were both present at the recent WEC conference in Canada, and that's where we decided to pick up and continue the discussions. AI had really dominated conversations across the workforce solutions industry, and it was no different at the conference. It really stood out as well. However, what did struck me was that the conversation had kind of shifted. We're moving much more beyond experimentation and proof of concept towards implementation and business value. We're definitely seeing that in our research. If we look at maybe say, for example, just the buyer survey, so that's your clients, the buyers of large contingent workforce labour. For the European region, we saw just over the last year that AI adoption in those programs nearly doubled, increasing from just 19% to 35%. So, Petar, from your perspective, are we now entering this genuine period of business transformation, or are we still in the early stages? I'm not too sure what's going on.
Thank you for the introduction, Francesca. I'm glad to be here with you. To answer your question, we are long past the hype phase and we are experiencing real business transformations since executives have put AI implementation on the top of their corporate agenda. With all the clients and prospects we are speaking with, AI is one of their top 3 topics, and also with our industry peers. Why am I saying this? Because it's not only software development that is being redefined. Whole corporate structures are being transformed into AI-powered, future-proof organizations. Skills, procedures, processes, everything is being, let's say, wrapped into the AI skin. And this is the new business reality.
Yeah, we've definitely seen it permeate more into every role within the business rather than it just impacting a back office system or front office system. It's sort of implementing, finance, accounting, marketing. We're seeing it sort of permeate every single role within the industry. Something that we haven't been able to escape, and it's still spoken about on LinkedIn and all, especially research studies, is whether our industry, if AI is replacing or simply changing the way people work. From the research, as I said, we've conducted, the picture is much more about transformation rather than replacement. When we do look at our surveys, especially the buyer survey, and we ask the clients, how are you using AI today? The most common applications weren't making decisions and stuff like that. They're using AI for candidate screening. 47% are using AI to support candidate screening and shortlisting. Another 47% said they're using it to assist internal management and the contingent workforce program, so to sort of assist that. And 42% are using it to help identify potential candidates. So it's increasingly, as we said, hopefully taking on board those more repetitive tasks. Something that we do find quite interesting is when we look at the technology supplier outlook, staffing firms and technology suppliers, so both, generally the suppliers tend to think there's going to be more proliferation of this than the staffing companies. 40% say that it's going to take over manual staffing, processing jobs that have been AI enabled in the next 3 years. So that is a significant shift, but it is only 40%. So we are still very much requiring the human expertise, judgment, the whole relationships. I suppose, you're implementing AI across international staffing businesses. Is that reflect what you're seeing? Is there an absolute fundamental change in the role of the recruiters there, or what are you seeing?
So after the World Employment Confederation conference in Toronto, where we met and also met some new startups working in an AI recruitment sphere, I think the recruiters will be mostly challenged by the AI recruiters, so they will need to find a way to coexist and create synergies. Business development managers and account managers will be expected to increase their productivity and output through AI-powered CRMs, business and market intelligence tools, and communication systems. In general, almost all roles across the I would say staffing value chain, they will experience profound disruption in KPIs, delivery, and business expectations, because staffing leaders and managers will turn over every coin invested in AI many times.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing that with regard to and I suppose the conversation doesn't go unnoticed, the relentless cost in this technology as well, right? So that's something that we have been probably a little bit blindsided at the moment. You think, oh, all this advantages in technology, and then all of a sudden, oh, actually, it's actually really expensive, and it's maybe growing exponentially without really concentrating on that. Have you been faced with that, for like your clients have had that as well?
Both internally and externally. People are not aware this AI is a compute heavy workload. Its tokens cost something, both in money and in energy infrastructure behind.
Sure.
So very detailed AI trainings, AI vocabulary, the right toolkit and the templates how to engage with AI systems are in place now all over, let's say, our industry and our buyers industry. So we are seeing it live and now.
Yeah, what we've seen as well, because we do a benchmarking consortium, and the rise in technology. So this could be just general augmentation, or it could be AI infrastructure and the implementation of AI within the staffing companies. It's gone up by 5% since 5 times since 2013. So reaching a peak in 2022 up nearly 3 million per firm. And in 2024, I think it was 2.5 million. So it's definitely not cheap, is it? So that's definitely something that we're keeping an eye on. Regardless of that, tech investment priority is the biggest spend. 73% of our the staffing company survey, so staffing companies participated in that, have basically said that their technology spend is going to go, 73% will increase technology spend this year. So it's a priority. It's definitely happening, but it is expensive. The second theme that we were discussing really is that for many years we've associated automation with factory production, repetitive manual work, that kind of stuff. But AI seems to have turned that assumption on its head, really impacted probably knowledge work. We're seeing their demand, impact in administrative professional roles. They seem to be impacted first, but we are also seeing a growing demand for engineers, technicians, healthcare professionals, and all of that. So we're kind of experiencing what I think is quite an unbalanced labour market at the moment, creating maybe complexities for us in our industry, but definitely keeping us on our toes. What are your clients telling you about the future composition of their workforce, Petar? How is that working out for them?
So to be honest, they are still unsure because it's not the composition that bothers them now. It's about the volume.
Yeah,
Are we speaking about 10, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s? Volume is the topic in focus since a lot of businesses are trying to be as efficient and as sustainable as possible while increasing their margins.
yeah,
They need, in fact, to justify their investments in AI, and they are hoping to see results as soon as possible. And
yeah,
this really brings us to this everlasting topic of short-term versus long-term perspective and business impact we expect to get
sure.
from the AI. And one thing is for sure, AI is the long gameplay and setup, and everyone who let's say hunts for short-term returns and stays restrictive both about volumes and the right composition of the workforce will not grow in the future.
Yeah, I think when we have started to ask now your clients, so as I mentioned from our buyer survey, if they are starting to see, replace workers with automation. And overall, for Europe, we've seen that 16% have said, yes, we are replacing workers with automation. Where we've seen the biggest replacement of contingent works with that is finance and insurance. More than 56% in that sector actually are replacing contingent workers. So there we're seeing that kind of play out. So highly structured, rules-based processes, which falls perfectly into AI and automation generally. Engineering has remained largely unaffected. So in the survey, none of those companies have reported replacing any workers with automation. That also suggests that technical expertise, judgment, problem solving rely heavily on human capabilities. And we kind of not seen that as well in industrial. So it's evolving there rather than completely evolving. So yeah, we're kind of seeing similar things, but of course they're playing it by ear. I think as we've discussed, it's innovation is definitely moving forward. It's not, should we adopt AI? It's, how fast shall we adopt AI? But now we're kind of seeing a different discussion, and I suppose this is in line with all the new legal and regulatory advancements in our industry off the back of these laws. So I think what we are seeing, and I'm not sure if it's the same, is how can we use AI responsibly? That's also something that is coming to the forefront, a part of loads of, we're trying to see that factor in as well. Petar, how do organizations decide when to use AI versus when to use people? And then,
From my experience, and again, daily operative business, it is a mix of costs, urgency, and culture.
yeah,
It depends on the project, the structure, and the strategy of each organizations. What we are seeing now is that organizations really use people as tools
yeah,
to create and build AI tools. So we are all in, let's say, a tool sphere, and this topics is very important to all of us. I think both to staffing industry analysts and World Employment Confederation, as we are tackling it constantly in our HR tech and AI working groups, where I think our joint goal is to create a future work ecosystem of coexistence. And this is really a hot topic now, and it will be in the future. And happy to be here to solve it with you.
yeah. Do you ever see a situation where automation sort of stops adding value and creates more risk, or do you think they're just going to go hand in hand?
I do, and especially in software first companies offering digital HR solutions. When we speak
Yeah,
about the old school staffing and recruitment, we built our businesses on people. And if we are thinking about digital first companies acting in this digital HR solutions sphere, I can tell you that this year alone, I personally had around 20 interactions with clients and prospects whose inquiries could not be solved by digital first businesses.
Yeah.
So they reached out to me. So this alone gives me hope that, let's say, human is still needed in human resources.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I'm definitely of that persuasion myself. We kind of see that kind of merging rather than one replacing the other, or you know, I think what we're moving towards is a human tech workforce, right? Something along those lines, rather than one replacing the other. So as we draw to a conclusion, these discussions tend to be a bit briefer, so 15 minutes so people can dip in and out. If you could give staff and leaders one piece of advice about AI over the next 3 years, what would it be?
I have I don't have one. I have three. Very
Oh,
short.
perfect.
First, it's because it's an actual topic for us. We spoke about it on a management level. First, do not copy others when deciding on your AI infrastructure, setup, and toolkits. Really use your competitive advantages and augment them with AI. Second, use AI for long-term success and not for short-term returns. And third, most important, we built all this with people. So let us keep that in mind when thinking about an AI first, people second future.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think for me, I don't view AI as a replacement for people. Instead, I see it as maybe we're redesigning work. So the organizations that will succeed, we hope, won't necessarily use the most AI, but they'll be the ones that effectively combine technology, good governance, human judgment, transparency, which is ever so important. You know, that trust factor now that
Yes.
we really must double down on. And I think for me, also remembering, like your last point, that remembering the strengths of humans and the quality of work that we create and manage and provide people, because we have to keep that at the forefront. We don't want people just overseeing technology in these kind of boring, repetitive roles. We want to have good quality work. So yeah, so definitely, as I mentioned, the concept of a human tech workforce where humans and talent and AI tools collaborate. That can be like a mutual enhancement of each other, I think. So Petar, it's been a pleasure to see you at the conference. It's been a pleasure to talk to you on this subject matter as well. We could talk for hours. So thank you so very much for your time and the work of the WEC as well. And we look forward to speaking to you all very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.